said you did listen to some of the episodes of the podcast?
Yes, I just listened to one in which you had a German accent for quite some long time, and I love.
Well, that's not me. That's the Mandatory Fund Commission. Hello and welcome to a GameBrew Microbrew. My name is Dan from the GameBrew, obviously, and I will be your lead investigator this evening. And I am joined by my very sleuthy friend, Stephanie. Say hello, Stephanie.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about some interesting things that Stephanie is into as far as video games, and it's a mystery, one might say, what they are. But first, most of the time we ask, what are we drinking? And this evening it's nothing really. I have some tea, and Stephanie had a long day, so she drank the tea before she got here, which is fine. What sort of tea did you drink? That's the important question I wanted to ask.
I drank some Sleepy Time vanilla.
Ooh, okay.
It's one of my favorite teas, and caffeine free. So after a long day, it's nice.
Yeah, that's definitely nice. I am drinking some English tea, so it does have caffeine in it. I will be up until 2 a.m, but that's no different from anything else that I do. But we are drinking tea because that is what we kind of discussed as being the most, I guess, the beverage that would fit what we want to talk about the most. So you are involved in a very interesting sort of like video game community, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Is that a good way to describe it?
Definitely. And we have a cute little name as well.
Okay. So Stephanie, what is this video game that you like? Because I know what it is, but I want you to tell me what it is for the listeners here.
Well, the fandom kind of calls ourselves the Clue Crew, mm-hmm. and that's because we love Her Interactive's series of Nancy Drew computer games.
Her Interact, this is like a capital H, lowercase e, uppercase R, right?
Exactly, yeah. All
right, cool. So then they're the Nancy Drew Interactive Mysteries. Yes. Is what you refer to. Okay, cool. That's awesome. So for those of us who don't know, who didn't grow up in the late 90s, early 2000s, who is Nancy Drew?
So Nancy Drew is a sort of teenage, she usually is between the ages of like 16 and 18, teenage sleuth who goes around solving mysteries. She's got 2 really kick-ass best friends, Bess and George. And she's got a doting boyfriend who she kind of ignores constantly mm-hmm. in the pursuit of adventure and mystery.
As I feel like that is something all of us should do, is just ignore your significant others and go on adventures. What's his name? Doesn't he have an alliterative? He has an alliterative name, doesn't he?
His name is Ned Nickerson.
Oh God. Oh, that's the best kind of alliterative name too.
It's great. It's so forgettable. It's perfect.
But he's a nice guy, right? He's not like...
He's such a nice guy. He's always concerned about Nancy's safety, but trusts her fully. He's mm-hmm. literally the most perfect boyfriend and gets ignored all the time. Oh. In fact, a lot of people ship Nancy with Frank Hardy of the Hardy Brothers. Oh,
you mean the Hardy Boys? Because
yes.
They are brothers. That was my choice when I was a young lad. I would read all of the Hardy Boys mysteries, and those were my go-to books. I don't know if
they're actually playable characters in some of the Nancy Drew games. They show up.
Really? They do?
Sometimes they're like a phone friend that you can sort of like call for hints and stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
But other times they actually show up.
Oh, that's really cool. I just remember reading some books and being there was like a drastic shift in tone sometimes whenever you'd read one, and it would be early on and they'd be like skateboarding like all over the place, and then later it would be, oh yeah, my girlfriend died in a horrific fire or something like that. And it's like, oh gosh.
These books and these games, they're for children, but they frequently have to do with like murders and stuff. So they like really toe this fine line of horrifying and okay for kids. Mm-hmm. And the funniest examples of those are the ways you can die in the games.
Oh, you can die in these games?
You start over immediately, but you can die.
That's okay. I'm just used to the like those point and click mystery. These are like the point and click Like you go on and you like go and explore rooms and try and figure out the mystery
yeah.
stuff. I'm used to those not really having a dying mechanic in there, but I guess if it's a mystery, that makes sense.
And it's funny because some of the deaths are horrifying. Like in one, you get stuck in like an ancient tomb and starve to death.
Oh no.
Whereas another one is like a vase falls on your head and you die.
One of those is definitely not as horrible. And a little comic. Oh my gosh, stuck in a tomb and you just starve to death. And it like tells you that in text. It's just like you get stuck in there and then it just says.
Yeah, it'll like go to a cutscene where Nancy's very scared and then it's just like, you starved to death.
Oh no. You died of dysentery. Start over again. And then there's a little gravestone that says Nancy on it. In all of the games, is she like still like that teenage kind of 16 to 18?
It's a little vague. I think they're sort of going for like an 18 to 25.
Okay.
Is what it's like. She travels a lot. She doesn't seem to go to school very often. That sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes sense if you're a teenage detective. I don't know if like Veronica Mars. Do you ever watch that show at all?
Love that
Veronica
show.
Mars. It's always like, how do you like go to school and like have class? You're busy investigating these mysteries all the time, you know?
In the books, not so much the games, but in the books, Nancy's even more like Veronica Mars. Veronica had that father who was a private investigator that kind of gave her a lot of resources and got her into it. Nancy's father is a lawyer. And in the books, a lot of the time she's dealing with things that are like related to his cases and like go into his case files.
Oh, okay. And this fandom, I guess I would call it a fandom. Is that what you would say?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you call yourselves the Clue Crew?
That's us.
So where did that come from? Anything?
It kind of came from the online forums.
Okay.
So interestingly enough, most of the Clue Crew is similar to me. We started playing the games like 15, 20 years ago. We're all in our like mid to late 20s now, for the most part. So we've kind of like grown up together on these forums with playing these games. There's sort of like little patches of us on like Reddit and Twitter and Tumblr. And also the company itself, Her Interactive, does like playthroughs on Twitch.
Oh, that's cool.
One of the cool things about the company is these Nancy Drew games are literally all they make. That's it.
That's it. They only do those.
Yes. And they have about like 25 employees. They're right outside of like Seattle, Washington-ish area.
Okay. Yeah.
They created their own proprietary game engine. They do all of their animation like in-house, all the writing. Nothing's really outsourced or anything like that. And so we really like have this like sense of community with them.
Yeah,
like,
it's a much smaller developer. Everyone's kind of I guarantee if a fan has a problem with something, they would listen to it and address it because they're small enough that they're like, you know, not like the EAs of the world where they're not making billions of dollars because people are buying Nancy Drew playing cards through the games that they need to keep trading with each other.
Yeah, no, what do they call it? Downloadable content.
Yeah, DLC is what the kids are calling it these days. But a little about me. I've known Stephanie for a long time. We've been good friends. I was interested to talk to her about this just because I have very eclectic tastes as far as video games go. So I'm all over the place. Some days I like RPGs. Some days I like playing shooter games. Sometimes it's like puzzlers, any of that kind of stuff. So what was the question you asked me? You asked me a question over Facebook Messenger about the games because I guess most of these games are on discs. They're at CDs, right?
I always purchase them on CDs. They do have... Her Interactive has a digital library, but it's notoriously glitchy. Your games sort of disappear from time to time. So I always went for the disc.
Okay.
But I don't have disk drives anymore.
Most computers don't. That's a thing now.
I still have a computer from 2008 that I just like don't hook up to the internet anymore. It's specifically to play Nancy Drew. Because it has the disk drive.
That's great. Is it like is it wearing like a, I don't know, I'm going to imagine what I think Nancy Drew wears, like a cardigan. You have like a cardigan around it, like nice little button-up shirt.
actually more like a lot of like early to mid 2000s pop punk bands stickers all over it.
Awesome.
You know, a real middle school, high school style laptop.
That's what it's about. So that being said, so they're all on discs, and you were worried because since computers don't have aren't really having disk drives anymore, you were like, and you asked me about Steam and like how that whole system works. Because I know I have seen those games on there. Whenever I'm scrolling through, I'm looking through, I'm always like, oh, Nancy Drew game, and it's usually like the Ghost in the Mansion or something.
Ghost of Thornton Hall, you get it.
Okay. I knew I saw one that there was a ghost of a place. I'm lying. I figured if I said ghost of something, it would fit into a mystery. Like there's an Agatha Christie something, ghost of something. I don't know. Who knows? Hardy Boys, the ghost of the crazy manner of skateboarding. I don't know. I don't know what the Hardy Boys are up to these days.
Well, they're hanging out with Nancy Drew. They're going to be in the next game.
Obviously. So we're shipping Nancy and Frank, right?
I'm a true Ned shipper.
Okay.
I like Ned.
Okay.
And I like that they it's a different kind of relationship than you see in a lot of teenage relationships in stories like that, where Nancy totally runs the show. She's out living these adventures, solving these mysteries, and Ned's at home, like, worried about her.
He's at home. He's just like, are you eating sandwiches? Do you need do you have your good pillow? Should I get you your good pillow? You were in Rhode Island last week, and now you're going to California.
Yeah, he's the best. Right. He definitely has some anxiety issues because of what Nancy chooses to do with her life, but he's a fantastic boy.
That's good. That's good to hear. So what is it about these games that speaks to you? Because since this is like this is like the thing for you, right?
Yeah, these are pretty much the only video games that I play.
Right.
I was trying to think of other games I've enjoyed in case maybe that gave some insight into what games I like to play. Mm-hmm. And the only two I could really think that I thoroughly enjoyed was a game called Limbo that I played in like 2010.
Oh, the one that was like, it's the silhouette of the kid, and
exactly.
That one is very scary and artistically brilliant. I really liked that one a lot.
That game was amazing. And more recently, I really enjoyed Detroit Become Human.
Allison's gonna be so sad that she's not here because she wanted to be here. I had told her that we were gonna talk about this stuff, and she was like, "Oh, I really want to be there, and I want to talk about some of those because they're so cool." But she loves that Detroit Become Human. I loved it.
So I'm sure that gives you an idea that I like really like story driven. Games, not so much like action-y style games.
Right.
So I got into Nancy Drew when I was around 11 years old. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people in the Clue Crew have similar stories. So these games are all made, you can get them for usually around $20 or less.
Okay.
Even pretty new. They're very cheap to purchase. And they were sold at big box stores like Target and things like that. And your mom or aunt or whoever is buying you a gift recognizes the name Nancy Drew and picks it up for you. So my mom had bought me one, and I played it with my little brother.
Oh,
and we loved it.
That's so cute.
I always had sort of an interest in video games, but at that age, first of all, I was not very good at them. And second of all, you're at that age where you don't want anybody to notice you or make fun of you for it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I found that boys were really mean about video games, and they all wanted to be the best and sort of like judge you a little bit if you weren't like a true super fan.
Right.
Not you, of course not.
No, of course. But I mean, like, so Stephanie, I have some bad news for you. Boys are still the same. There's still a large group of people who, if you try and say like, oh, I really like playing this game, the internet will just go, well, the internet really does this because the internet is the worst. But they'll start shouting at you. It's like, oh, I can't believe you don't like that. Like, we'll make fun of Will all the time because he is an old man and he only likes, a few, like a very specific type of game. But that's okay. It's okay to have that.
But at 11, that feels scary. You're like putting yourself out to sort of be the center of attention, and it's bad attention. Whereas at my age now, I don't think I'd care so much. But at 11, this is how I'm feeling. I go on the forums, and it's all girls. It's all girls my age, really like hyping each other up. These are our favorite games to play. And sort of that exclusive, like, female community was something that I had never seen in video games before. And I really, like, latched on to it.
That's really nice that you're able to find, like, that kind of community within a video game. You know, I like that kind of stuff. That's really neat. And then that kept going, like, through.
So it's interesting. Like I mentioned, the games are very cheap to buy. They also come out every 6 months.
Really?
One in summer and one right before like holiday season. So even though I think like the playthrough time for most of them is around like the 7-ish hours mark. So it's not like a crazy long game,
right.
But you're getting like new content all the time. Between the games coming out 6 months apart and Her Interactive dropping like concept art and character bios and stuff like that, it feels like all the time you're getting new content.
Yeah, it's just that's great because it's like but it's always a standard release. It's like one comes out this time, one comes out this time, or around those like winter summer areas.
Well, this is historically accurate.
Okay.
So in 2015, they got a new CEO, and one day, half of the company was let go.
Ooh.
The voice of Nancy Drew was let go. She's been the voice for 32 different games. They have 32 games right now. They decided to switch their game engine from their proprietary engine to one called Unity.
Yes, I'm aware of that engine, yeah.
And they decided to outsource a lot of things. This was in 2015. We were supposed to get a new game later that year around the holiday season, and we have not gotten a new game since then.
Okay.
Now, they recently just let us know pre-orders for that game are going to start in October of this year, and we should get it by November.
Okay.
So everybody in the Clue Crew is kind of hopeful, but a little anxious. There's a lot of change going on right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's been 4 years since you've seen a new game after seeing one every 6 months.
Exactly.
Oh.
So, and there's been Her Interactive on their social media and things like that have been less transparent than they've been in the past. So it's really interesting. It feels like there's been a lot of drama going on these past couple years. When the voice of Nancy Drew got fired, she sort of went on like a Twitter outburst about it. Former employees have said the game's never going to get made. And it's because they've been trying to focus on a younger audience and making mobile games, which is something that their core fan base isn't really interested in.
Yeah, that's a lot of unfortunately, that's where a lot of the companies are going because the mobile market is big money right now. So it's because it's easy. Everybody has a phone, so you can kind of like put something on. Like, I mean, look at all of the Pokemon Go's and the like Wizards Unite, which just came out by Niantic, those companies. And those are real big games. I mean, come on, there's Candy Crush people have been playing for like, I guess like 10 years at this point. Everyone's been playing that game.
Well, unfortunately for Her Interactive, they have not been very successful in their mobile games. The one they came out with most recently, I think, is a really cool idea. It's geared towards like elementary, middle school age girls, and it like gamifies coding to like teach them how to code, which I love the idea of that. It said that the app was like kind of clunky and not very easy to play. Yeah. So the direction of this company, Her Interactive, that me and a lot of my internet friends have loved it's sort of up in the air, and we're all really excited to see what happens with the new game. They're talking about it's going to have some AR or VR component to it, which is very different.
That is
weird too.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Would you say that you're more excited about this game coming out, or would you say that you're a little worried about it?
I think I'm definitely more worried, and I think a lot of that has to do with how many people were let go.
Right.
With the live streams and stuff like that, we really felt like we got to know the writers and things like that. We would like speculate on who wrote what jokes and stuff like that. So it feels like not only are they going in a different direction, but we don't have any trust built with the people who are making these games now.
Yeah, because it's almost like it's a whole different group of people who's doing it.
Exactly.
Or at least it's the people who are left over from the group of people who you have trusted to make these games for years.
Yes, but I like to be optimistic.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it turns out just as good as the other ones. The other thing that everybody's concerned about is with these new changes, are we still going to get games as quickly, and are they still going to be as inexpensive? Because a lot of the people in the Clue Crew are like me. We're not video game players.
Right.
This is something we do very, very casually.
Yeah. And that tends to be the biggest problem in game development now. A lot of times whenever they decided they were going to go, or the new CEO, when he decided he was going to, or I don't know who they are, but if they were going to go in a new direction with the way they were making the games, then that's why they were like, oh, maybe they wanted to try and put it into a way to make more money with it. So that meant getting rid of more staff, spending more time creating something that they could charge, like for regular video games now, it's like $60 is kind of the going rate. So that would be a lot more than most of the games that you have played, that you have already.
Right. And it's interesting because I don't know that a lot of us in the Clue Crew would be interested in spending that kind of money on a game, that we would do that. And they've made it clear that they're looking for a younger audience.
Right.
And I don't know that they would have the disposable income or have any sort of relationship with the character Nancy Drew, which started in the 1920s,
right,
that they would be inclined to purchase these games.
Right. And I guess there was a movie or something that came out some years ago. I think
in 2007. A
2007.
movie. And I think in 2017, another one came out, again, geared towards a younger audience.
Right. Yeah. But I always feel like the mystery genre is tough for kids to get into, just because the internet is so prevalent now. It almost seems like, oh no, there's a ghost in this house. Internet search. Oh, it's not a ghost. It's just Mr. McGillicuddy in a mask, you know? It's Old Man Smithers. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Nancy is also very old school,
yeah,
which I think is a hard sell for kids.
Yeah, it's hard whenever you're an old soul and kids are trying to, Fortnite generation kids are they're just flossing everywhere. Not in the way your dentist approves of. It's the one with the arms dance. I can't do it. So going back to the video game, which would you say that what's your favorite mystery? Which one of the games would you say that you like the most?
I love one. It's called Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Love the title.
The Hardy Boys are in it.
Nice.
So the story is, it's very like, it has like an Agatha Christie vibe to it.
Mm-hmm. So like the Murder on the Orient Express kind of vibe?
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's a young heiress who has like very Paris Hilton-y vibes about her. And she's heard of this mystery of somebody who disappeared during like Gold Rush era. Mm-hmm. So she's invited Nancy, a police detective, a paranormal investigator, all sorts of like different kinds of investigators or people who solve crimes on this train. And then she immediately goes missing as well. So you're trying to figure out these two disappearances. You're on this train, which is it's a really cool, like, a lot of the games take place in like other countries, and they're a little educational and things like that. You learn about the gold rush and sort of prospector times. Okay.
Yes, that is the scientific. I would say if we were geologists, that would be, oh, this looks like it's from prospector times.
Exactly. Perfect. That era of human history.
Nice. Awesome. And so the fandom, like the forums and stuff like that, how active is this community? Like, do you do meetups or anything like that? Is there any way that you've ever, like, anyone you've ever met through these who you still converse with in like real life?
I do have some internet friends. We have not met in real life. However, every time I post on Facebook about these games or anything like that, almost every girl I've met, their mom, their aunt, somebody bought them one of these games at some point in time. Like, they're all familiar with it.
Yeah.
The fandom is super active, though. We have like a lot of very strange memes and things like that. Nancy is known for being pretty tactless in her dialogue. There's a great one where a character says that her mother was killed and devoured by wolves. And one of the options that you can respond to that with is Nancy just saying, "How?"
How? She was killed and devoured by wolves. I think that's pretty straightforward, you know?
Yeah, so we have like a lot of memes and things like that. And also, in more recent years, a lot of discussion about what's going on with the company, that sort of drama, things like that.
Okay. That's very neat. That's a really cool thing to have a community that does talk about that kind of stuff in and of itself.
Yeah, and it's still very mostly female. I think I've met 3 different guys on the forums, which is anytime I'm anywhere talking about video games, I feel like people always assume I'm a dude when I'm talking online. Like, that's just an assumption. Whereas this website, everybody's assumed to be female. It's like...
It's kind of the opposite, of what normally happens. And that's an interesting, that stigma's, well, I hope that stigma kind of goes away. My feelings on the gender stereotypes around video game, like people who play video games and like the term gamer, I disagree with. I think it's very problematic is the word that I would use.
It is. I'm with you. I think that the stigma is sort of going away, and we're seeing more and more of like an equal distribution in people who play video games and partake in sort of video game culture and things like that. But I think that Her Interactive's forums are still unique in that they are almost exclusively female.
It's like a safe space, would you say, like for, people to go, like, even if there were younger, the younger audience for who I guess Her Interactive is going for their new stuff, you'd say that they would feel comfortable in this environment?
Definitely. It's funny, in like the live streams and stuff like that, I've met sort of a couple people, and in the last one I met this 16-year-old girl who was being bullied at school, and we became Tumblr friends, and she sort of like felt safe to like talk to me about things and stuff like that. Oh. And we still like check in on each other from time to time. She's doing really well now.
That's good.
But it's the kind of stuff that, I mean, I would have probably made friends on MySpace or in chat rooms or something like that, and not felt that safe talking to strangers about things like that. But sort of knowing that we're mostly female gives it this sort of like, we're all sisters. We all love each other.
Oh,
we love Nancy.
I love that. I love that aspect of that, just because that's so safe, and that doesn't happen. I mean, from what I know of video games as like a whole, sometimes that is not what I associate with like forums about video games. Usually it's a bunch of people yelling at developers or each other about which Mario is best. I like the Mario with the blue overalls. No, I like the one with the gray overall. It just does. It's just not worth the arguing.
Biggest thing is whether you ship her with Ned or with Frank. Those will be.
I mean, I don't know. Frank's my boy. He's my boy. Those Hardy Boys have been my boys forever, So
he's incredibly charming in the games too.
Oh, they are the Hardy Boys after all. It solves so many mysteries. Any final thoughts like that you wanted to say about? Is there like a place that people can go if they want to play these games, or they want to like kind of explore this?
They're all available on Steam now if you don't want to get CD-ROMs like I've been doing for the past decade plus.
Yeah, just open up the case, blow like all the dust flies out.
Yeah, they're available for download on Steam, which I now know what it is and how to use it. Thanks to you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
And the new game is pre-order on October 1st and being released on November 19th of this year.
All right. Well, then I expect you to keep me updated with that. I might check it out, but odds are I probably won't.
You can live vicariously.
I live vicariously through you. So okay, and that's her interactive. Is there? I'll find a web address and I'll post that in the show notes whenever we put that stuff out. We were talking earlier about my friend, the Mandatory Fund Commissioner, who I guess you've been listening to a couple episodes of the podcast, so you heard him. He's actually you mistakenly said he was German. He's not. He's actually Australian. His accent's kind of fools a lot of people. But yeah, he's
similar to Mexican Sven that he was.
Yeah. Well, it's just Sven. You don't have to call him Mexican Sven, but I've never met him. Also, he was around way before I knew the MFC. But he did, like, when I told him that you were coming on and you were part of this fandom, he did drop off something. He had a little game that he wanted me to share with you, and to have you play. Would you be interested in doing that?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So you mentioned that the fandom that you have is called
The Clue Crew.
The Clue Crew. Okay. Which is interesting because we have a fandom here, or at least we have the people that we refer to as the people who listen to the podcast. They're the Brew Crew. So they're like the GameBrew. We are the GameBrew Crew, and then the Brew Crew is all the other people.
I love that. Yeah. My boyfriend, he refers to us as Druvians for Nancy Drew.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that one too. I like this guy. He has good puns. He gets the Dan stamp of approval on that. So what I did is I looked up a whole bunch of other fandoms that exist, and basically, or the Mandatory Fund Commissioner did. What he wants me to do is I'm going to give you the name of the fandom, and then you have to tell me what it is that they are fans of.
Oh, I love this.
Do you think you'd be okay with that?
I'm going to try.
Okay, you get one guess, and this is going to be very much like the first thing that pops into your head. Yeah, don't take a lot of time thinking about it. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So just a test one. This one should be easy. So we're gonna do this one first, just so that we can. This will be like the litmus test. Okay. So if I were to say, okay, they are called Potterheads.
Harry Potter.
All right. Ding ding. There's the sound. There's going to be a sound there. I'll put that in post. Okay. All right, so let's see. So here we go. I'm not going to put any time on. I'm just going to start reading them, and then you tell me. I'm going to tell you if it's too long or if it's wrong. All right?
Got it.
All right, ready? And here we go. This one's Whovians.
Dr. Who.
All right, there we go. The Brown Coats.
Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, no, that was Firefly, the Joss Whedon show. Thronies.
Game of Thrones.
There we go. Deadheads.
Deadwood? Is that a show?
Oh, that's a show, but that's not what it is. That was a show. I liked that show.
Grateful Dead, right?
Yeah, that was the Grateful Dead. But I'm sorry, the first one was wrong. I'm not going to give that one to you. I'm sorry.
Rats.
Hulkamaniacs.
Hulk Hogan.
Yes. The Bayhive.
Beyonce.
Yes. All right. Bayhive or Beehive? This is
I think it's Beehive.
Okay.
Controversial statement.
Okay. Because it's
told me
I could be wrong. Don't yell at me on the internet, everybody.
Yeah, I don't love Beyonce.
Don't say that. Don't say that on. I'm gonna cut that out of the. I'm gonna bleep that out. Dunderheads.
The Office.
Yes. All right. Sherlockians.
Sherlock.
No, I'll accept it. I'll give that one. Sherlock Holmes, I think technically is what we would refer to that as.
Really? I thought it was specifically the show with Martin Freeman.
No, what I saw is that Sherlockians are just people who really like the Sherlock Holmes books. So could be.
Wow,
could be
that's a huge span of people.
Yeah, I hope so. Moonies. 3.
People who love the moon.
No, that was Sailor Moon, the anime series.
Oh, I should have known that.
Swifties.
Rick and Morty.
Yes, that was a good one. Psychos.
People who like Psych.
Yes. Moonwalkers.
People who love HBO's Moonwives.
No, that's not. HBO's Moonwives? I've never heard of that.
That's a 30 Rock
reference. Oh, okay. That's right. That's Michael Jackson. People like who like the Michael Jackson music.
God.
Ghost Heads.
Casper?
Nope, that was Ghostbusters is the thing. Beliebers.
Justin Bieber.
Yep, that's a good one. Ringers.
Wrestling in general?
Nope, that was Middle Earth. So like Lord of the Rings, all of those kind of things. Bronies.
My Little Pony, but specifically the men who are interested.
Yes, that is like specifically the male dominated part of it. Twihards.
Twilight.
Yes. Colbert Nation.
Stephen Colbert.
Right, perfect. Let's see. Trekkies.
Star Trek.
Okay. Grobenites.
Josh Groban?
Yeah, that's totally a thing. Definitely. Juggalos.
Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, you're just killing this right now. Hamill fans.
Hamilton.
All right, good. And one last one. This is for bonus points.
Okay.
Copies.
Wait, can you spell it?
Coppies.
People who like true crime shows.
Oh no! This is one that you came up with for us because we really like the show The Good Cop on Netflix. Do you remember that?
I did come up with that.
Yeah, you did, because we were just like, we need to call something for all of us the 7 of us who really like this show, The Good Cop, starring Josh Groban, and it was Copies. So that is us. All right, so I'm going to count these up real quick. Let's see. So we've got 17 right and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You only got 6 wrong out of those.
Shocking.
That's strong. Very strong. I think we can say that you know a lot about fandoms, even if you did not get the copies question right. Great. I'll have to tell. Did you enjoy that game? Can I tell the mandatory fun commissioner you liked it?
I did. I really did.
All right. I'll let him know. He does a good job every once in a while. So Stephanie, thank you so much for coming and letting me bother you about Nancy Drew video games for like 30 minutes.
Never.
Any closing remarks? Anything that you wanted to say to the GameBrew, the Brew Crew?
Check out the Nancy Drew games if you want something super casual, easy to play. And check out, what was that show called again? The Good Cop?
The Good Cop. I don't know if it's still on. I hope it's still on Netflix. I don't know if it is, though. I'll have to look that up.
Josh Groban, Tony Danza, you can't go wrong.
You just can't.
Yeah, join us copies. That's what I'll do.
So if you are a person, if you have a particular thing that you like playing, that you think that you want other people to know about, definitely go and you can jump into our Discord. If you go to bit.ly/discobrew, you can jump in there, talk to a whole bunch of other people who like the GameBrew. You can also, it's usually bumping is what I like to say. There's always some funny videos or fun conversations going on. If you like hearing stuff from us, of course, go to thegamebrew.com, or you can go to subscribe to the GameBrew podcast on any podcasting app. Leave us a review. All of that kind of stuff is really great. So with that, I think we will. There's something we do at the end of every episode where we say good night, everybody. So I say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. All right. Thanks so much for coming on. That was a lot of fun. Did you have fun?
I did. Thanks for having me.